We have breaking news. New York Attorney General Letitia James is about to speak outside court after pleading not guilty to mortgage fraud charges. Let's listen.
I want to thank all of you. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you for your prayers. I want to thank you for your emails. I want to thank you for your support. It has strengthened my spirit and it has anchored my soul, and so I want to thank you. But this is not about me. This is about all of us, and about a justice system which has been weaponized. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. This justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge and a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law. And a justice system which unfortunately is nothing being used as a vehicle of retribution. But my faith is strong. And my faith is, I have this belief in the justice system, in the rule of law, and I have a belief in America and all of its individuals who have stood with me, not only in New York, but all across this nation. I've heard from just about every jurisdiction in this nation who have said, stand up and be tall. And never, ever cow down or back down or break or bend. So there's no fear today. No fear. No fear. No fear. No fear. Because I believe that justice will rain down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. And I'm here to say that my work and my job and all that I do, all throughout my public career, I've stood up for the rights of New Yorkers and Americans, and I will not be deterred. And I will not be deterred. I will not be distracted. I will do my job each and every day, and that's why I'm headed back to New York, because there's work to be done standing up for the rule of law. God bless you and thank you all, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
We've just been watching New York Attorney General Letitia James giving remarks after pleading not guilty to mortgage fraud charges. James thanked supporters gathered outside the courthouse, saying their support has strengthened her spirit. She says this isn't about her. It's about a justice system that's been weaponized as a tool of revenge. You might remember James successfully brought a civil fraud case against President Trump last year and leads multiple lawsuits challenging his administration's policies. Now she says she will not be deterred or distracted from doing her job every day, which she says is standing up for the rule of law. Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas and ABC News legal contributor James Sample are here for more on this. So, Pierre, what's the latest on how this went down in court?
Well, she pleaded not guilty in court. The hearing lasted about 30, 45 minutes or so. We also heard today from her defense counsel, Abby Lowell, that they will pursue motions to dismiss the case based on a vindictive or selective prosecution. They're basically going to say that this is an unfair prosecution done out of retribution. You can see a crowd, you can hear the crowd around me, roughly a couple hundred people who are here in support of Letitia James. And again, I think I was struck by her comments of her motivation. She seemed very frustrated, but also saying that she will not fear. That she will continue to pursue her job.
James, how high is the bar to show vindictive prosecution and get a case like this dismissed?
Normally, the bar is very high. Normally, that is a motion that defense attorneys will file expecting to lose it. But because of the context and circumstances of this case, because you literally have the President of the United States calling for her prosecution, making statements about her, this is the kind of case where you actually have a rare opportunity to sort of point to a smoking gun, if you will, for a vindictive or selective prosecution argument. The James Comey case, not so much the John Bolton case, but Letitia James has a stronger argument than defendants normally would to press that kind of case, particularly given the relatively modest financial aspects of this case. This is a small case that has been the focus of extraordinary and extraordinarily high-level attention.
And Pierre, part of that could hinge on what previous prosecutors who worked on this case themselves said about it.
Yes, we're hearing from sources that a number of the career prosecutors involved with the case were concerned that they might not have enough evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. There was that concern, and one of the main reasons they felt that way is what the guest just said, that the amount of money that she allegedly received from this so-called investment was relatively low, and they're making that at least those career prosecutors were making the case that perhaps the case should not be brought to an indictment for that reason.
Just on a house that Letitia James bought in 2020, the Justice Department is saying that she essentially gave fraudulent claims when applying for the mortgage, calling it a second home when they're saying it was an investment property. She's denying that. What do they have to prove for these charges? Because it's two separate charges, but you're saying it's kind of an all or nothing type case.
The charges are more or less redundant of each other. This is a common practice in federal indictments. You've got a charge for bank fraud, and you've got a charge for a false statement to a financial institution, which is basically bank fraud. So these charges will likely rise or fall together. The ambiguity here is whether or not her property constitutes a second residence or an income and investment property. She argues that she occupied the residence when she was there on a regular basis. The federal government says, in essence, that she had to stay overnight to count as an occupant. The federal regulations on this point are ambiguous at best.
She's saying the house was for her niece. If they show that she didn't actually stay there, but she also didn't collect rent from her niece, where does that leave things?
That leaves things in a kind of limbo land, a gray area. We don't normally people don't buy a house and then have someone else occupy it, but not receive rent and then stay in it on a regular basis. That's the kind of circumstance that the regulations do not anticipate, and so we have a bit of an untested waters on that point.
Pierre, what are you watching for next year?
Well, there will be a number of motions brought forward this particular court. The judge has made it very clear that he wants this case to move forward quickly. He wants any exculpatory material given to the defense. Again, he set a trial date for January 26, 2020. He wants the case to move forward at that point. So I think the thing that we're going to look for in the coming weeks is this notion whether Lindsey Halligan will be able to stay on as the duly appointed counsel to represent the government in connection with this. Abby Lowell, Ms. James's defense counsel, is making the case, or will file a motion later today, that she was unlawfully appointed to the job, in addition to this whole issue of selective and vindictive prosecution.
And James, how likely do you think they are to succeed there in arguing against Lindsey Halligan's appointment to begin with? And what happens if they do succeed?
I think there's a chance that they will succeed. This is an argument that we're also seeing in New Jersey in the context of Alina Habba. We're seeing it in Nevada and another incidents there. The question is really whether or not the appointment is valid where the judges of the district had, in essence, appointed an interim, Eric Siebert in the case of the Eastern District of Virginia, for a period that had not yet expired. And the president then, normally a U.S. Attorney's Office is a Senate-confirmed position, presidential nomination, Senate confirmation. In the backup scenario, that's where these Federal Vacancy Reform Act scenarios play out. That argument is not an argument that we normally see because we don't normally have the circumstance here. If that scenario were to play out, the question then becomes, is there someone else in the office, in Lindsay Halligan's office, who would stand behind this case? Or would there have to be someone from the Department of Justice headquarters itself? We don't really have a lot of precedent there, but what we know is that the line prosecutors in her office who had declined to press these cases have been fired because they argued against pressing the case. That indicates that she's out there a bit on an island.
All right. Pierre Thomas, James Sample, thank you both.